Good morning, everyone. Ooh. I'm making a little separate video because ah, there's one thing. When I comment anywhere, this or that, I try to remember how well do I know the person. I mean, and try to get a little more information, this, that. Well, anyway, so, I know that is still, it's just, dear me. Usually when we talk about cults, this snap, they're small groups. They're usually small groups. They're hidden away somewhere. They got their own little compound going with whatever they're doing. Most of them, I guess, as far as I know. And I guess you can have, okay, what's a cult? I mean, again, people just have to figure out something to make people, you could call the hippie movement a cult, right? I mean, why not? Oh, but that was all about love. Yeah, love my butt. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, you can call people who tattoo. There's like tattoos. This not a cult, and the whole of Japan, I guess, would be one. They have a lot of their tattooing. There is a big thing. Other places in the world as well. Well, anyway, so what does it matter? I guess it depends on how are you using something that has a lot of meaning to a certain people, and then you want to adapt it, though you don't really know anything about it. Well, anywho, but as far as I know, a lot of little groups, uh, that fell away, they came up with their own thing, per se. Young people fall for stuff like that a lot. Well, they're still searching this, that. They're not doing anything out there to anyone. It's sad to see, it was sad to read the story of the one where, in the end, no, except for the leader, right? They all committed suicide in some kind of a little uh, I say underground bunker or something in the desert. That was really sad to on how or the okay, all right. We know all about what's a good Jim Jones, disaster. Then the one where it was very clear that young girls, maybe boys too, were abused sexually in this one. Where was that, in Texas somewhere? And they ended up storming. People got killed. This, that, and again. Which religious leader of anything would put his whole congregation on the war path? Why not just come on in, if you have nothing to hide? Why not come on in? Come on in and have a look around. Please do talk to the parents, to the children, everyone. We have nothing to hide. But when you have something to hide, something pretty nasty, most likely. Right? Yeah. So, well, anyway, so I have to make this video on here and then share it, to YouTube, so I can share it then everywhere else. So be it. But I think that all the videos and stuff that I've seen, from the Unification Church to the beginning of, True Fathers. At the time, he was called a teacher when he was in his little cardboard hut. Then he was arrested, and he was in the North Korean camp as a fertilizer camp, where the life expectancy was very short, like 6 months, and he was there for what, two? Well, it says 2 to 3 years. I'm going, okay, one extra year. That's kind of a lot. So let's say 2.5 years. Right? I'm sure there is an exact time for how much time he spent there. Well, anyway, and then they show this picture, and remember this picture going around. Okay, so he lives for 2.5 years, though the life expectancy of one of these prisoners is no more than 6 months. I thought, man, how did he do that? And in the beginning, while he was there, he would even share half of his food. This is all stories. I'd never talked to him personally about that. Okay, he would share his food with them, and And then, God gave and said, okay, you need to eat all of your food. You can't share it anymore. He slept in the worst part of the cell, which was right next to the toilet, which probably stank to high heaven, but he could put his back towards the toilet, right? And that was safety in a way, right? Oh, so I guess prisoners killed each other as well? Oh, that's just terrible, right? Well, anyway, he was there as a religious, but basically political prisoner, but due to religion. And how do leaders around the world are so, come on now. How can you be threatened by religion? Okay? Come on now, by other people's beliefs when it comes to a deity or something, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, but if you're an extremist out there when it comes to the Islam religion, first of all, you're doing the rest of your people anywhere that is a Muslim a real disfavor, okay, by just killing people of other faiths. What is that? If I were a Muslim, I'd be strongly speaking out against that and say, I'm not a part of that, Okay, come on. Come here. He wants to be a part of it, and he's gotten really big, and he is so he's so affectionate. So Gus, go lay down. Go lay down. Oh, he figured out how to open that. I know how to fix that too. And there's other things. Well, anyway, yeah, right. Well, Christians weren't a whole lot better either. Again, one speaks out against that, Anywho, so after there was this fantastic story. Oh, so anyway, so he's there and he's doing whatever, and I also come to find out that okay, I know True Father the way I know him. Okay, I really know him. I've seen True Father several times. I've never spoken to him personally, but I've seen him enough times, see how he is around people and then his teachings. And I can just see on how, with the way he was, the way he taught this, that, very charismatic, yes. And he somehow managed to get a guard or two on his side, saying, oh, wow, this man needs to be protected. The protection of God, I'm telling you, it ain't no joke. And he was some of his followers in North Korea. Why didn't they get arrested? I have no idea. Anyway, we're able to bring in some food, and he, of course, shared it, but kept him alive. Then there was this picture going around, or when I joined the church, of a guy and another guy on his back, carrying him back to, that was after the liberation of that camp, by the Russians and the Americans, by the way, and you saw that, and it's like this. But he carried that guy on his back for 20 miles or something to South Korea. I'm going, and then on a bicycle, this and that. So that's how the story goes. Well, it turns out, and I looked at that picture and go, that's not True Father. That doesn't look like Reverend Moon on that picture. Well, anyway, I asked my husband, so there was kind of this dispute going around there then just a couple of years ago about this picture. And again, and I asked my husband, I said, hey, because he had joined in the 70s or something. I said, hey, did you know this isn't? He said, yeah, I did. Didn't you? I said, not really. So, well, but I kind of figured out, and then I kind of realized, oh, okay, but it's a picture of, okay, it's a picture of someone who did the same thing as Reverend Moon did, right? Well, do we have pictures everywhere? So I was kind of going, why is that picture circulating all around in our church? Not getting it, right? Because Yeah, I grew pumpkins. Now I'm gonna go and put pictures out of someone else who grew pumpkins because I don't have a picture of myself doing that. Okay, I'm just saying. So there are these things, I guess, that when you're working really hard for God, you're trying to sometimes figure out. And we just had that in the Bible reading in 27, where you're trying to cut corners and kind of be a little bit deceitful. Well, you know what? When people find out the truth, in a way, that's a real letdown. It's a real letdown. There were other things. Okay, so I found out about that. So I found out about this. So does that mean now? No, no. Right? So every Muslim around the world, right, who's maybe not, hasn't been connected to Islam in the way that the Middle East has, right? And they have all these extremist groups who just go and bomb people and bomb themselves, this, that. You hear that and you're going, holy cow, what did I get myself into? Right? No, you stick with the what? The fundamental part of the teachings. Right? It's the same with the Christians, isn't it? Gosh, I mean, in the Middle Ages, when the Christians went around with their holy wars, no, you don't. This is nothing under the guidance of God. Nothing was done there under the guidance of God. And if it were, number one, they would have found another way to say, okay, well, we know you're doing bad things to the women and children, and so, under your religion, right? And so we're going to come in and going to check, but we don't want to kill anybody. But, okay, so there is resistance, and still you're going to have to find a way without killing a human being. And otherwise you leave, right? But maybe make it possible for the women and children who want to leave with you, maybe men too, you make that possible. But you don't get to just go and kill everything and everyone. And then what's the other part that goes with that? Rape, plundering. Right? Oh yeah, all them, what were they called? Knights and the ones, that, as I said, in the Holy Wars, where they had the white shirt on with the red cross. They were all saints in that regard. I doubt that very much. I know what war does to people, the adrenaline, and what you do. Just horrific things. Besides, killing. Anyway, so, said that. There were other things, too, that I heard. I was never present in any of these things, but others were. And one tries to make that, and I know they, in their mind, in their heart to mind, you try to fix this somehow so it's still right. But there were some of the children of true parents whose behavior was absolutely unacceptable in many different ways. And I'm not talking about, well, I think I'm going to go and find my own husband or wife. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about violence, physical violence towards others. Yeah? Man, if I'd have sat in one of them rooms, what do you think? I would have been arrested, thrown out of the church. Yeah, okay. Well, okay. Made my point. Oh, now, where are we getting to here? But I can't disregard the teachings. I can't disregard the great things that happened in my family in many different ways, and in my own life, especially when it comes to my spiritual growth as well. And one thing one just can't ignore anymore now as well is on how far spread the Unification Church has become all around the world. And a lot of good things are happening. Right? Yes. Well then, there's always a step-by-step, right? Restoration. Right? So not everything was hunky-dory with the true children. Right? Yes? And even with true parents in a way. But the thing is, the next step, right? The next generation, even the first generations around them did amazing things. Now I'm going to disregard all that because that one family, true parents and their children, are the center point of it all. And everything's recorded, everything's watched. This now, yeah. Sadly, some things should have been taken care of right then and there with them too, but they weren't. Anywho, so what I wanted to do this morning, after I said all this, is give a couple of examples of my meeting true parents, and why after that I never looked back. I knew this was the way I was guided by Spirit World and my Heavenly Parent. Just as when I was about 17, 18, I met Jesus in the most wonderful way, and never looked back from there either, and knew exactly. That's my path. My path is in the belief of Jesus, the Bible, and God. Done. Of course, there's always growth that happens too, but that was it. Anybody came along and told me, yeah, by the way, okay, I didn't say Catholic Church. Anybody would come along and say, well, but are you sure there's a God? For me, that was right away. I'm going, ooh, what are you on? Which drugs? or, okay, I guess some traumatic things in your childhood or whatever. But as far as, oh yeah, let me think about what you just said. No. After I had my experience, that was it. And that was, I'm not going to get into that. I've already talked about that experience, about finding in earlier videos. So this is about true parents. So I was already married, had one child, and had more children, and I hadn't had the blessing yet, and this and that. So, but I went to, let's see, I had 3 of them with me, one in the stroller. So they were 5, 3, and maybe 1-year-old or something. And I went to a little speech. It wasn't a big, it was just for members, little get together with the true parents. True father. I didn't notice true mother. I know she was there, but I didn't notice her. And I stood there. It was crowded. There was, sadly, none of the people got up and said, hey, do you want to sit here? Which I would have said anyway. No, I'm going to stay back here because I got a stroller and 2 children with me. And it was so busy. And I had to go on the, let's see, did I go in the car or did I go, I can't remember. Did I go with the subway? Well, in any case, I got there and, it was just by the time I got there, I was already ready to go back home again, But everything went well. My children were great. My children were always wonderful with things like this. And I got there and we waited about 15, 20 minutes. So I got there in time. And, true father walks out. Got quiet. True father walks out. And I'm looking and I can see something. I mean, whoa. He turns around and he addresses everyone. And I could feel this whoosh of love. Absolute whoosh. It's like it just hit me and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'll never forget it. It hits my heart right now. I never forget that. And I looked at Reverend Moon, Sun Myung Moon, that was considered the second coming in the footsteps of Jesus to finish up Jesus' job, to get married, the blessing, change of lineage, from Satan's to God's again, done, and then be fruitful and multiply. And okay, so see true father. I had this just, wow. And again, did that come from true father? No. It was with him. It was God. It was God, was absolutely Jesus, God. It was something, there was something else there that was so loaded with love that that's all I needed. I was there, I think after that, no more than 5 minutes, just soaked it all up. I looked at the children who were, by now it's kind of in the afternoon. They're tired. They're still used to a little nap and stuff. And I said, children, what do you think? You see that? That's True Father. That was it. So from then on, I called him True Father. I said, that's True Father. As I said, I can't remember if True Mother even was there. Maybe not. Yeah, but that was my whole focus. Had that experience. Looked at my children, said, time to go. And we left. I never even stayed for the speech or anything. Right? But that was it. After that, it doesn't matter what anybody has to say. I will never forget that. That's all I needed to know. With whatever goes with it and around it, right? That's what I experienced. That's what I know to be true. There was one other little experience. Okay. That actually, True Father was there, but True Father didn't make any kind of impression on me that day. It was True Mother. And it was a 5 a.m. pledge time, where again, whoever wanted to. And I was surprised there were there were plenty of people there. The room was full, what am I saying? But we got there early enough, right? So we sat in the second row on the floor. It's just a small room. And it was after another big speech. We had, or he had. But that too, that kind of came and went. I went, and then the 5 a.m. pledge where our whole family went. Okay. And my youngest one was already born as well. And we sit there in the second row, and they both come out, and all I see is just True Mother. And I'm sitting just a few feet away from her, right? Well, True Father was there too, but True Father, as I said, already had that. There is True Mother. And in a way, they were sitting there as a unit, and you could tell they're a total unit. That was nice to see as well. Wow, there is an amazing strength and fire around those two, right? Well, it had to be when you go and look how big the movement is, what they built all up. Of course, with the help of all the members, all the sacrifices of the members of money and time and this and that. Yes. Yeah. But it's so good. It's still, if you go and look what True Mother now, even with True Father in spirit world, of course, still supporting her, is doing all, it's amazing. It's amazing. So what better thing can I do than to just be a testimony to that and the amazing things they've done in my life, and in a way on how I can teach about it. So we're sitting there, and I'm looking at my youngest one. She's 2 years old, sitting on my lap, and she's just staring at something. I'm looking at what she's staring at, and it's True Mother. And True Mother is staring right back at her. Kind of just sitting. Neither of them, they weren't not smiling, but they also weren't smiling. They just looked at each other. And I could almost, as the mother with the child sitting, I could feel like they were having some kind of communication with each other. It was good. Holy cannoli, what's going on here, right? Yeah. And that went on for, gosh, I don't know how long. 5-10 minutes or something, right? And then suddenly my daughter cracked a smile, right? And True Mother did too, right? And it kind of ended, I guess in a way, ended their little whatever conversations those two had, just from the heart to mind. Right? There was another instant before that. There was a speech, and I made this beautiful I just felt like it. I made this beautiful shawl. It wasn't a shawl. It was bigger than a shawl. It could be used as a shawl. It could be maybe used as a lap blanket, whatever. But it had this. I found this absolute gorgeous fabric in the reuse depot that I worked at. Somebody had brought in, probably, when people pass away, they bring stuff in, they don't know where to go. And I found this exquisite piece of fabric. And I made hemmed it, and I made something around it, real beautiful, real exquisite too, real tiny, crocheted, something like that. And I handed that to one of the people that was close to True Mother. I said, hey, I made her a present. Oh, okay. Of course, I couldn't. As just a regular Jane Doe, Joe Schmo, you didn't get to go into the private business, which is fine. I don't care, right? And but I was able to hand it to someone. And then later on, I was told, as she even showed me a picture, said, look what's on True Mother's lap. And it was my that little shawl, that lap blanket that I made for her. So exquisite. And I was so honored. That was before the experience that we had at 5 a.m. Pledge. And my friend said she loved it. She said, I want this right here on my lap, right? To keep her legs nice and warm and stuff. Or to just, I guess, so honored. So honored. Yes, yeah. And then the meeting between my 2-year-old and True Mother's minds. That was it. I knew. Okay. Oh, was it not it already before? God knows best. And God knows in a way too. He knows us so well. He knows our heart to mind so well. He kind of can see where things may be going, right? And also, we ended up doing home church. We came here to my husband's hometown, built this huge place, and then started working on home church. Well, so to have, for me, to just have this experience with true parents, either one separate, was it necessary? I regard it as a great gift to treasure always. Because in a way, with the shawl and the True Mother acknowledged something within me. Then, with my child, it was also went to my children as well, transcended. So true parents weren't just in a way with the mother of that family and the father too. And my children, of course, played. They started growing and played music in the church. This and that. It kind of true parents seeped into her whole family. Right? Yes, with some of the experiences that then, okay. And there's things that came along, where one could say, oh, wow, okay, and for me, it's like, I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened. I know some people are very unhappy, and I know also what unhappy people do. So I had to say, but I can't. Am I just going to disregard now because of someone doesn't really know, is just unhappy, but is making a big hullabaloo out there, believes all kinds of things. I can't kind of see hands or feet to it. The stories don't seem to be computing with the actions. So anyway, so I've been given. I've been given, and I will hand down this story in a very special format to my children, and hoping that this is how your great, 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 great parents were the first generation in our family, in God's lineage. Whew, right? Yes? Yeah. Why would anyone want to take that away from us? Why? And why don't everyone who wants to do that and discredit true mother out there now, even true father, gets discredited that way? Why don't you work on your own family so that you will also have something as an heirloom to hand down to your great, 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 great grandchildren? Just saying, right? Yeah. So, regardless what anyone says out there, I will never step away from true parents. Never. Okay? Am I blind, though, to some things that I had to say, oh, that didn't go quite right in the true family? Isn't that? Yeah, sure. Am I going to persecute and judge them over it? No, because everybody has to work, is working, needs to work, if they believe it or not, in their family towards restoration. Yeah? Yeah. The ideal of God, God's point of view. Right? Yeah. Well, that's all I wanted to share this morning. I have to do our Bible video. I'll see. It's rainy day, maybe. Oh, good news too. Our spring was drying up down below. That's because it's been very dry, but we got water again down there, right? Yay! So that's good. That's our drinking water. Right, guys? Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's what I wanted to share this morning. That's what I had to say this morning. God's love and blessings always. May He protect you, and I will talk to you all another time.